Okay, so we have 3 boxes, one with nickels, one with dimes, and one with quarters. Before we open these boxes, though, let's see if we can figure out how many of each coins are in the boxes given this information. We have a system of 3 equations right here. We're going to use substitution to solve for these 3 different coin numbers. So let's just call this equation 1. We have the number of nickels plus the number of dimes plus the number of quarters equals 30 coins. On the second equation, if we take away the number of nickels we have with the number of dimes plus the number of quarters we would have no coins left. On equation 3, we're determine how much money we have. So each nickel's worth 5 cents, so we have 0.05 N plus 0.1 D plus 0.25 Q is equal to $3. So let's go ahead and start solving for a letter. The second equation looks pretty easy to solve for a letter, so let's go ahead and go with equation 2. We're going to solve for our nickels. So if we rewrite equation 2, we have negative N plus D plus Q equals 0. Now let's add N to both sides. N minus N is 0, so we have 2 plus Q equals N. The 0 goes away because anything plus 0 is just going to be that number still. So we could call this equation 4. Okay, so now wherever we see an N in equation 1 or 3, we're going to plug in this instead. This is what's going to go in our N box. So for equation 1, we're going to put D plus Q plus D plus Q equals 30 coins. Let's simplify this a little bit. D plus D is 2D. Q plus Q is 2Q equals 30 coins. Now the greatest common factor of 2 and 2 is just 2. So we could take that out. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So we have D. 2 divided by 2 is 1, so we have a Q equals 30. Now let's divide both sides by 2, also known as multiplying by 1/2. So this cancels out to 1. So we have D plus Q equals 30 divided by 2, which is 15. Now we're going to hold off on this problem for just a moment and look back at 3. So wherever, again, from equation 4, wherever we see an N, you're going to plug in D plus Q instead. So if we rewrite equation 3 doing that, we will have .05D plus Q plus 0.1D plus 0.25Q equals $3. Now, you don't have to do this, but I would like to get rid of these decimals. So instead of having dollars, let's change it to cents. Since there's 100 cents in a dollar, let's go ahead and convert it to that by multiplying everything in the equation on both sides by 100. So now we have 5 parentheses D plus Q plus 10D plus 25Q equals 300 cents. Now we can't just add these D's on and Q's onto the rest of this. We have a 5 out here. We have 5 groups of D's plus Q's. So we're going to have to distribute. 5 times D is 5D. 5 times Q is 5Q. Carry down the rest of the stuff. Now we could combine like terms. We have 5D and plus 10D. 5 plus 10 is 15. Now we have a 5Q and a plus 25Q, which is 30. Now you could get rid of either D or Q. we're going to go ahead and solve for D this time. So subtract 30Q. That cancels. We have 15D equals 300 cents minus 30Q. Now to get D by itself, we have to still divide everything by 15. So D equals 20 minus 2Q. And we'll just call this equation 5. So now that we have D in equation 1, which we simplified to this after plugging in the n, everywhere we see D, we're now going to put in 20 minus 2Q instead. That's our substitution. So in each D box, we're going to be putting 20 minus 2Q in. So there's nothing to distribute out here, so we could go ahead and take away the parentheses. So 20 minus 2Q plus Q equals 15. Combine like terms. We have 20 minus Q equals 15. Let's subtract 20 from both sides. Negative Q equals negative 5. So now we need to divide by negative 1 because we can't have negative quarters. Q equals 5. So now we can open up our quarters box, and there better be 5 quarters in there. Let's check. Let's see, we have 1 quarter, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we have 5 quarters here. So that's good. Now this Q, we're going to plug back into equation 5 to find how many dimes we have. So for each Q, you're now going to plug in a 5. That is your substitution. So we have D equals 20 minus 2 times 5. Again, for each Q, we substitute a 5 in there. So then we have D equals 20 minus 10. 20 minus 10 is equal to 10, so the dimes are equal to 10. We have 10 dimes. Let's check our box. Let's see if we have 10 dimes in here. Let's see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 10 dimes right here. Now for both of these, to find our nickels, we're going to plug in both of these numbers into one of our original equations. Let's go ahead and plug it into 2. So we have negative n plus D, which was 10, plus Q, which was 5, equals 0. 10 plus 5 is 15. So we carry down everything else. Add n to both sides. So n is going to equal 15. So let's check our box. Let's see if there's 15 nickels in here. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So we have 15 nickels here. So we have 15 nickels, 10 dimes, and 5 quarters. A way we could check this answer is by plugging each of those 3 numbers into our equations to have true statements. So their solution set would be, we had n, D, Q. That is going to be 15, 10, 5. That would be our solution. That's our ordered triple.